Hello, everyone, and welcome to Profitable PPC Campaigns for tour operators with Vitaly and Pablo. Very excited to be here. I'm very excited that we have a decent turnout today. This is a three-part workshop that we've got going on. Starting today, we got another one tomorrow and another on Thursday. And we've worked for the last few weeks to break this down in such a way that you should have a profitable PPC campaign running by the end of this workshop. And I am thrilled to be here. If you guys have any questions throughout the presentation and you are in the Facebook group, you can leave a comment. Say hello right now and tell us where you're logging in from. Looks like we got 7 on board already. About 50 have registered, so it should be a fun class, and we'll all do this together. As a quick heads up, I will actually also be doing the actual setup of these campaigns after each class. So Pablo is going to come on board, and he's going to essentially show us all the mechanics, and he's going to show us the case study that he has been able to accomplish. And after each class, I'm actually going to be doing the homework, and I'm going to be building the campaigns per Pablo's recommendation and specifications live stream in the group. So you guys are welcome to join me for those as well, and you can do it with me. You can watch it and do it yourself later on, but however that goes, of course, the goal remains the same: to build a fantastic, profitable PPC campaign. Hello, Frankie. Hello, Jason. Hello, Simon. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thanks for participating. Pablo is here with us now. Pablo, how you doing today? You're on mute right now, my friend. All right.
Hey, Vitaly. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here, and thank you so much for volunteering your time to teach tour operators how to run profitable PPC campaigns. I'm very excited to learn from you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Well, so how do we start, Vitaly? Should I just share my screen and go ahead with the webinar?
Well, let me introduce you a little bit. I think it's important. I think some of you have already seen the work that Pablo has done in some of the emails that we've sent out. And Pablo essentially comes from the tour res tech industry. He's been in digital marketing and digital strategist for many years, and he has an agency called La Hype, and La Hype does a whole suite of different services for the tourism industry. They do SEO, PPC, web design. They do a lot of different work. And when we were chatting, he mentioned that he was running these really profitable campaigns for a boat charter client of his. And I was like, well, how much are you making? I was like 500% ROI, 600% ROI. And he's like, well, hang on, let me calculate it, and I can actually send you some of these numbers. And he sent me these numbers, and I was like, holy crap, I want those. I want campaigns like that, because for every dollar that they were putting into campaigns, they were getting $31 out. That is a 31x return on ad spend. And that is not an easy feat. I think that I've heard, people say that they're getting those types of results, but I actually wanted to see it from with my own eyes, so I could see that it could actually be done. And so very excited to be learning this, very excited to be implementing this. Pablo's done an amazing job of breaking down the fundamentals of PPC campaigns and kind of the core elements of each. And he and I, throughout this entire kind of workshop, will be, kind of playing off each other, going back and forth a little bit. I'm gonna question some of the assumptions. He's gonna tell us about what he learned. He's gonna go through his entire process. He's also done a great job of building some of the worksheets that we can essentially use directly after each of the classes to actually do some of this homework. So very excited. Thank you all so much for being here. Without further ado, Pablo, let's fire up that presentation.
All right. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. If you can just confirm that you can see it.
I see myself.
Good. All right. Let's kick it off.
Very good.
All right. So basically what we have first of all prepared for you guys here is just a quick glossary, because we realized while we were rehearsing this and building up this 3 classes that we are going to have for you guys, that some of the terms, they might be a little bit too technical, right? And I tend to use quite a lot of technical terms, so if that happens, this is going to be your place to go to kind of just get the terms right, to understand better, get the best out of this webinar, really. So this first class is going to be, we're going to be looking basically at marketing research. And what we mean by that is not just understanding how to make ads itself, but we want to make a quick bridge just to talk a little bit about why are we able to do something like paid ads today. We want to talk about the customer's journey, which is always going to be present when we're doing marketing work. Now, for tourism, there are some peculiarities which I would like to go over. And lastly, we're going to be talking about the keywords, which are essential for any kind of work with search engines, be it paid, be it organic. You need to know your keywords. You need to know how to make this research. This slide's about us. I think you already did a good presentation, but Vitaly, you maybe just want to give a sum up?
Sure. Yeah. By the way, quick note. Can you dismiss that bottom note there that says hide? And then also, guys, you should know that you will be receiving all of this material in the group. It'll be posted. So the whole presentation will be in there. The worksheets will be in there. Everything will be inside of the group. And as we're doing the work, and as you're working on all on the worksheets, and as you're working on your campaigns, you can comment in there, and both Pablo and I will be very active, making sure that that you guys are as successful as possible. Okay. So quick background on me. I've spent over 10 years in Silicon Valley. I've worked for a number of high growth technology companies in a number of different industries and verticals. I've generated over $100 million in revenue for those companies. Somehow I ended up starting a yacht charter company in the Canary Islands in Tenerife. We do yacht charters and whale watching tours. First year we did 240K. We struggled a lot, spent a lot of money, made a lot of mistakes. And then second year we did 450, and we were on track to double that in our third year. And then of course, coronavirus hit. And throughout that journey, I realized that tour operators have very little support. There's so much information that we could use to leverage what's working, what's not, the communities. And that's why during this kind of downturn during COVID, I decided to launch a new travel association that is primarily focused around helping tour operators around the world grow their businesses. So that is why we are now doing these types of workshops, and we will continue to be doing these types of workshops. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to travelassociation.org, where we actually earlier this week launched a splash page where you can learn more. Go ahead, Pablo.
Perfect. Well, myself, as Vitaly said, I came from the digital marketing ambience. I'm graduated in advertising, and I focused especially in SEO and business intelligence, applied for digital marketing. I grew my years like that, and why am I here now talking to you guys on the tourism field? Is really, as Vitaly said, because I joined the ResTech industry a couple years back. We picked up that the industry really did have a big gap of marketing support. There's a lot of software, there's a lot of consultancies, there's sometimes very focused agencies which do one specific thing, but we did not really find a competitor or something that we wanted to offer, which was being able to really cover from tail to bottom all of the aspects that a tourism agency really needs. And that made us create Le Hype, which by now has been working with over 32 operators, and we have been doing this for 3 years. Lots of ups and downs. We are still learning a lot. It's a very cool industry to work in because it changes. And the glad thing is that digital marketing changes with it, right? It's super fast. So we're happy to be working with the industry. We're happy with the results we're having, and at least for now, I don't think we're going anywhere. So we're also very happy to be working now with ITA in these kind of workshops and spread a little bit more about what we know. So with that, guys, I'm gonna present quickly who is our success case, because this charter company, Crazy Crab, it was founded in 2018, sorry, in 2016 in the Cayman Islands. Basically, the region is it's perfect for water activities, for charters, and it has some main attractions in the region, which you did find a lot of offerings in which you could hire a specific charter company, but they would give you that specific experience. You know, like they would say you're hiring the 2-hour charter, which is going to do this itinerary. And Crazy Crab actually had a different approach. They had, at the time, one vessel, and they wanted to give a personalized experience. They wanted you to be able to tailor your activity, the pace that you want to do these things. Maybe you want to spend more time at one activity than the other. Maybe you want to snorkel for a little bit longer, and they wanted to adapt to that. With that in mind, Troy Leacock, which was the owner and is the owner of Crazy Crab, he came to the hype and he mentioned a couple of key aspects he would like to tackle. He actually came in to talk for the first time about SEO, which is another topic that we could talk for many webinars. But basically, he looked at, he wanted to increase his bookings without having to increase too much on his staff side. So it was very important for him that we reduce the office time that he had to make the management of the bookings, to make the engagement back and forth, guiding the user to choose which at the end of the day was the best charter combination for him, because that was not that common for the charter industry. So increasing bookings, decreasing office time. He already had ads running, so we wanted to optimize those and get a better ROI from investment and make sure that he's reaching the right people with the right messages and sending traffic to the correct pages. And as another point that we also tackled, which did have indirect effect as well on the ads, is the organic rankings and the quality of the traffic that we were bringing in. So for us, basically, for Crazy Crab to be successful, we needed to go over 3 main things, which would be the improvement of his presentation and of his activities. That basically resumes or translates to build you a brand new website. And make sure that all the pages have the correct answers that we need, that we're working with the right visuals, that it's very clear for the user how this website works, how you're going to book your activity at the end. And of course, then also reworking the PPC strategy, making sure that with this new brand new website, we're now able to shoot traffic to these specific pages. We're happy to say that the results were excellent. I'm benchmarking the first year of activity with LeHype here. Basically, we saw an increase in bookings immediately after the launch of the new website. We onboarded Crazy Crab around April in 2018. We've seen that the investment in ads was a sustainable one. So we also increased the ad spend there. And the results of all of this, and looking at it from a business perspective, is that Crazy Crab was able to hire 3 new vessels. So they quadrupled the capacity in less than a year, based from the sustainability that we were bringing from traffic, from sales, from growth. We had long-term strategies, short-term strategies. But of course, now, as everyone knows, with Corona, this changed. Right, we had to adapt our strategies. We had to revisit our budgets and where we should put our investments in. But that's something we're going to go over in a little bit. So right now, I want to go a little bit on talk a little bit about marketing strategy, and I want to touch point on 2 main fronts, and really not take too much time here, but just to give you kind of the background of what is outbound marketing and what is inbound marketing. You see, When it comes to outbound marketing, a lot of people relate to that as the traditional marketing. It's the marketing in which you are usually paying for some kind of media vehiculation. So you want to reach someone, you don't know who you're reaching. You might have some information about it. Like for example, if you have an outdoor, you might know the region where the outdoor is, who tends to be looking at that outdoor from these media departments that we have all around the world. Same with radio, same with TV. Um, but the other key aspect for outbound marketing is that you are interrupting someone. You're not really they're not looking for you. Um, not necessarily aware of your offer or your brand, but you might as well come and interrupt. This is really flash sales, the normal and day-to-day business that we see, the marketing that we grew up to, let's say. Um, and the touring activities that could translate to a sales guy on the street and talk catching up, giving flyers, a radio spot, a TV ad that you might do, a magazine in which you're publishing one of your activities. But then we also have the other side of that, which is the inbound marketing, which is my personal favorite, and I explain why. The internet has given us the possibility to actually reach to a lot of people, and the process doesn't have to be one way anymore. You don't have to just pay for ads and try to reach them. You can use a platform like Google, in which you know that people are going to be searching for specific things. And as long as you understand what they're looking for, when they're looking for them, and how, you are able to target that. You are able to be the best answer for the questions that your customers have. So here the process is actually inverted. You're not going and interrupting your customer. The potential customer has a need or a question which you can answer. And usually, that's why we believe so much in search engines. The search engine is smart enough to, at least from a paying perspective, like PPC, understanding who has the more accurate ad for what you're looking for, or on an organic standpoint from SEO, who has the most relevant website, right? Who has the better content, who has more links to its website. But either way, inbound is always going to be working and trying to bring people to you. Now, PPC is kind of in a middle ground there because it is a paid media, but it is in a platform that behaves with an inbound strategy. But won't touch point on that today. But we're going to be talking mostly about, we could say it's mostly on an inbound approach that we're working here. The media, because you're paying for it, is kind of in the gray zone, but it's still inbound. So now that we understand the internet's here to stay, we know that we have new possibilities, that really the behavior of marketing has shifted, at least good marketing. And now we also need to understand what's our buyer's journey. And maybe some of you are hearing that for the first time. In marketing, we like to break this down into 3 stages. Now you're going to find tons of names for this. You're going to find top, middle, bottom funnel. You're going to find the awareness, consideration, and decision stage. It's all the same. What we're basically trying to do is picture a funnel, right? The top of it, it's a little bit wider. You can fit more in there. And the bottom, it's very refined. You just got one little stream, but it's a result of that funnel, right? It's what we're looking for. So it's normal that in an awareness stage, you will always have more traffic, you will always have more people, but sometimes not as qualified, not as ready to buy as some others. Um, I can give an example here with the prospect usually has some kind of need, right? Like if we're looking at the tourism industry, maybe he's looking for best places to visit in Europe with kids or with family. That's a very broad search. If you have a company in Tenerife like Vitali, it doesn't really say that he's looking for you yet. Does not mean that it's not true that it is a good destination for families. So you might produce a blog post about it. You might make some content on your website about it, or maybe a blog on social media. But usually on the awareness stage, unless you have absolutely certainty and you are very focused on your keywords that you are targeting, the awareness stage is usually not where you want to put your money in advertising. Usually. On a consideration stage, it's if you consider the middle of the funnel, the prospect already understands that, let's say, Spain or even Tenerife is a very good destination, but what can I do there, right? Which are my offerings? What's my decision point here? Can I rent something? Should I visit something? Should I, city walking, or should I island hop? And all of these questions, we need to start presenting them. So here you actually start having a little bit more an inclination to the purchase. Notice that at the first level, the person is really just looking for information. On the second level, they're already starting to wait that information. You know, what is better? What's my option? What should I do? So here's where you can actively start advertising, in our opinion, because at that point, if you do, if someone's already now looking for things to do, right? What to eat, what to see, then you can start saying, you should see this. You know, this is a great, whale watching. This is great. This is what you should do. This is what people come here to do. So at that point, the consideration stage is, we can call it the entry point really for advertising, because there is the awareness over the need is already there. They know they want to do something in Tenerife. You can be that something. Now, the decision stage, it is really when it all where we need to get to at the end of the day, because this is where your business is going to be sustainable. This is where you're going to sell. And at this point, it's offering. You talk about product and service. You know, excel at your customer business, because that's key for the tourism business. You really need to make sure that after all this work of holding their hand and showing them what is a good destination, what activities can you do, here's a cool offer for you, and at that point you need to sell your fish, right? That's the last step you need to focus on. Now, I have an example here of a Paris journey, which comes from the Adventure Travel Association. Basically, I think it sums up a very good perspective, a key, you know, a connection between what we just talked, which is the marketing funnel, and the expected stages of travel. You will see that we can clearly get those 6 points and align them with the middle and top and bottom funnel that we just looked at. So they consider that in a typical tourist's journey for a purchase, there is the dreaming stage, in which, for example, you know, you have vacations. You know, you have to do vacations. You start thinking, maybe I should take a holiday with my loved one, or with my kids, or with my family, or whatever it is. And you go into the consideration stage. So you know you have a need, you have a desire. Now you start weighting where and why, right? So let's say that we decided for Europe in this case, and then we go into the planning stage. Now the planning stage is where you start thinking on schedules. You start thinking of where am I going to sleep, what am I going to do, what do I want to see. So this we need to start. This is where we can start cooking that middle funnel, because we already know that he is going to Italy. Maybe we can say best destinations in Italy, right? We had a customer which was from Italy, which was a big DMO, and we targeted his strategy exactly like this, saying, you know, Italy for couples is a very top level. We're not going to pay for that, but we're going to create a lot of cool content about that. Now, if someone wants to know specifically if it's worth visiting the Vatican, for example, with kids, if it's okay, that's a middle funnel. Then if someone is ready to book online the Sistine Chapel, that's the bottom funnel. That's where we need to be. But then we go into booking. Booking would be, he realizes that, be it for his hotel or his accommodation or whatever, the decisions that he took from this planning stage, he needs to pay for that usually. That's where our technology comes in, right? The booking softwares, the management, the back office, that helps a lot. Not only you as a tour operator, but also your customer, of course. The experience itself, that's where Lehype really can't help too much. We can give some tips, but this is with you guys, right? This is when you really do what you do. You know, you provide excellent experiences. You create memories for your customers, which hopefully are going to be lifelong. But then that's not over. So he purchased. He had a great experience with you, but there is always a follow-up. There's always a follow-up, and why we say that is because the last stage from someone's customer journey might very well incentivize someone to start their own dreaming stage. You see, it kind of loops back, because we can say that the most common post-funnel tactic that we're going to see in the tourism industry is one that you're probably already familiar with: reviews. Asking them, how was it? Can you give me a 5-star review on Google, on TripAdvisor, on Viator, Expedia, or whatever it is? You know that they are important. You need to showcase them. You need to show your reviews from other customers on your social medias. You need to show it on your website. Show authority. Show social proof. It's not just me saying, these are my customers saying it. So I'm going to give some examples now, down to earth, looking at Crazy Crap. What did we do? So on the awareness, or top funnel, we have focused on ads which captivated. You know, they awoken desire. They incentivate you to know more about it, to charm you, right? So we try to show our benefits, amazing places, family friendly, happy people, um, things that you just can't see anywhere else. We got their attention. Now, for those ads that you're looking at here, this is a blog post and those are 2 ads on social media. We didn't pay for them. This was shot out to an audience which was a very segmented but already known audience. Um, Now, for example, on the consideration stages, we start making some pitches. Now, see, our main offer for our consideration level here was that, as I explained before, the booking was a little bit different from what you're used to, because you have to pick the number of hours, and inside of those hours, with a specific vessel, you can do whatever you want. And sometimes the user didn't really know how to close that deal. I didn't know how many hours do I need. Am I being optimistic here and saying that 2 hours is enough when it's not? So um, what we need to do here is try to narrow down the choices, showcase my offers. We need to start a conversation, searching for engagement, and we need to captivate. We need to create authority. They need to trust us. So for us at the time, this all resumed to a couple of posts, which really were targeting some of the keywords that we identified that were generating traffic for competitors or for specific websites which had a very similar pitch to ours, but were not really selling charters, so it was an opportunity. But the main thing for us here was to build an adventure planner. Basically, what we did is that whenever someone reached a website, we were going to give them 2 options. I know what I want to book, I understand how this works, check books and date, or I need help. And then when they hit the button that said that I need help, or if they engage with other offerings through the website in which we were asking them if they want to build, how to need help to build their adventure, we shot them to this adventure planner, which then was an interactive page in which nice and fluid, you click what you want to do. I would love to fish, I would not. I want to swim with the starfish, I do not. Um, and at the end, you would get a result saying, we recommend you to do all of these things that you are saying here, that you need 6 hours, for example, right? Now that from there, we know the user has the answer that he needs, right? So he could very well go to book, but still we invite them that if you want, we can talk to you, right? To reassure you, we can send this itinerary to us and receive a copy yourself. We ask them for their email and their name. At that point, the sales team from Crazy Crab would, of course, get in touch and ask them if there was anything else they could do for them. Now, notice that between having maybe 15 emails changed or calls made during the weeks, I'm trying to explain what you can do. Oh, check out this link. This is one of my activities. Oh, this is the other one. And you guys know this can be very tiresome. And when you have a huge increase in volume, this might just not be sustainable unless you hire more people, more back office people. But this did not happen here. The number of leads actually increased, and now the website was super clear that if someone wanted to make an unattended booking without really having to worry about a thing, he could. But if he still wanted to get some reassurance and really see if he's doing the right decision, we also gave them that option to refine his confidence. Now, of course, the last option, it was also there. If he wanted to get in touch with someone after all of that, he could just WhatsApp or just use the chat and the website for that. But it was not what we were really pushing for. On a decision stage, this is where we, as we said before, right, we need to sell our fish. So this is where we really talked about very aggressive pitches, like power catamaran, which is the modality of all of our vessels are the best way to explore. Why? Here's why. The advertising that we did then is now being boosted. To a specific audience, we're giving them discounts. When you go into the website, we're doing pop-ups, giving discounts again. So the marketing here really starts to understand that if someone from my lead base or my customers or my users, they went through all my funnel and they are now stuck at the decision, it's worth to invest a little bit. It's worth to remind them, hey, I noticed you didn't buy your booking. How about I give you 15% off? You close the deal. Sometimes the place you want to give offers is here. It's not in the top funnel, because you're probably going to be wasting not money, because it's actually not very likely he will buy. On the top of funnel, you are wasting effort, because that offering is not relevant for him yet. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't realize that that offer is a good deal for him, because he doesn't see any value in it, right?
Yeah, that's an important point, Pablo, right there. I think that's one of the things that a lot of tour operators get kind of caught in or early on in their advertising and marketing, right, is that they will do a promotion to the top of the funnel, or even at the consideration, the middle of the funnel, right? When really discounts should be used as a mechanism to help you close the deal, right? Not necessarily to draw people in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you are right. A lot of tour operators, when we onboard them, that's what they're trying to do. They come to us and say, "Man, like I've been pushing, $500 a month into Facebook and Instagram advertising. I'm even giving them a 50% off. Why is it not working? Because no one's reaching. It's not relevant for them, right?" So we have several campaign types and even more tactics. So when we start combining those campaign types across different medias and channels. But today I want to just quickly go over some of them, but we're going to be focusing on search. Okay, because the objective of this workshop is that, as Vitaly said, you guys watch these classes. There's going to be Q&As, and we're going to be there for you. And Vitaly is going to make the homework that I'm going to be assigning. So it is very important for us that we get this through. If we made this for several campaign types, it would get too confusing. It would probably be too much to absorb in such a short time. So we're going to be focusing on search on this workshop. Search basically means you go into Google, you search for something, or other search engine, as a matter of fact, then you search for something. You're gonna always get the not always, but usually you're gonna get some ads on the top, which are paid. This the way Google works is like an auction house. Depending the bits that you can give in this case are the value of the click itself, but also how how much of a big shot your website is, how relevant is it for the user, for Google, for the keyword that they're using to search, if it's relevant. But search is pretty much this: you pay, you get the top of the page if you have good enough ranking. If not, you might get some other not as visible search ads, which usually means they're not good on the bottom. We also have display ads. Now, display ads, they mean that they are a little bit more visual, right? We can actually not just work with text and just copy. We can pop a little bit more of image. You can get their attention. So this can be used for certain kind of distributions in which you are not yet talking to your customer. You're just talking to someone that you suppose could be a customer for you, which would really touch there on the top funnel part, right? In which you, for example, let's say you want to display your ads inside of a cruise review website, like we did for Crazy Crab. Now again, I don't know those customers, right? But there, it's worth to invest a little bit. Why? Because it's a cruise review website, and I know for a matter of fact that a huge chunk of the tourists that come to the Caymans, they do come from cruises. So it is probably where my target is. Does that mean I should put 80% of my effort there? Absolutely not. But it means that it doesn't hurt me to test out 10% of my investment there to see if my display ads reach someone. But again, we're not going to get too much into these different tactics, but one thing I want to highlight is that you can always retarget your user. What that means then is that your ad is going to follow them to other websites. I'm sure all of you that happened to you guys at least once in your life. You Google something, you go into shop, maybe you browse the colors of that something that you want, and then suddenly it's everywhere. You go into your social media, you have an ad, you go into the forum that you're reading for 2 years already, it's there as well. That is basically websites giving space, selling space to Google to advertise what their customers want to pay for, your ad, basically in this case. The last kind of video, which I think most people are also had at least one YouTube double ad experience by now, but the videos are definitely they're key for any kind of marketing tactic. That's not just true for advertising, but just as any kind of material that you do. There's statistics out there proving that the engagement and the attention span to a video is of course higher than to an image or just a text. That also means, which is understandable, it's the hardest one to get right, because there's a lot of people trying it, and it does take more time. It's more investment, right? You need to have a specific technical person for that, and someone who records and edits well. So it's It's work, but honestly, it's worth the hassle because at the end of the day, the reach that you have with videos is just overall better.
Hey,
So,
quick question,
mm,
Pablo, on that, right? So it's so I'm an independent tour operator, as I'm sure a lot of us are, right, that are watching this. Um,
mhm.
I'm a one man show. Not really. I mean, I have a small team, right? But like, I'm essentially running all of the campaigns myself. I'm setting up content. I'm doing like, there's so much work that obviously has to happen, right? Like, how do I how do I properly allocate my time and resources to like this immense amount of options of how to essentially advertise and retarget and remarket, and there's just so many different channels.
Mhm.
What's the appropriate kind of approach that you've seen for a smaller operation?
So that's a very good question. It's a very personalized approach, right? Here at Lehigh, at least for us as well, we don't have kind of a formula, of like how each tour operator in each destination should work because it's just too many variables, right? If you don't do this personalized, usually you don't do a good job. But I think the quick answer to your question would be that we need to benchmark it, right? For example, if you are running, let's say your company had someone on social media, right? There's someone making posts and taking pictures of the customers, asking for reviews and things like that. You're starting stories, starting engagement with your users. I would probably not come in and ask you to put all of your investment into AdWords, even if I believe in it. If I know that I can get the results with it, maybe it's worth to then double up on the success that you already have. Maybe we should be looking at boosting the post that you are already doing on your social medias, right? Maybe if I notice that your organic rankings are super good, you're actually, you're just one step away from getting that first page, I'm going to be focusing on that. So there is not, it's hard for me to really put my finger where to start. What I can say is that from a process standpoint, if someone hires us to take care of all the advertising, so it's kind of like, let's call it kind of a, it's not really leverage, it's really like a blue ocean, right? So I'm just getting into a customer, I'm onboarding someone, they have ads, they have social media, they have SEO, they're doing everything they have to, but they're not getting there yet. Where I would focus first is definitely search. Because I think that's where we can get the immediate indication of, is my campaign successful? Is my keyword good? Are my campaign types reasonable? If you work on other social media advertising, which sometimes is it also filters very well. Of course, it's Facebook has a great algorithm as well. But I really think that the place where we know, what I noticed that from our first step, which is the inbound marketing research, which is basically a benchmark we do at competitors, market, seasonality, pricing, the success rate that they're having, traffic distribution, basically understanding how strong are we, what we're dealing with. Usually the first thing we get is we translate the keyword research into a couple of campaign ads for search. So the quick answer would be search.
Mm.
Um, but of course that varies, right? You have something already where you're already doing great work with
Of
videos. I'm probably gonna take my attention to there.
course. And I think one of the reasons, and just from my own experience, running a lot of different PPC campaigns for a lot of different industries, it's one of the, I mean, Google makes a ridiculous amount of money on AdWords, or sorry, Google Ads, for a reason, right? And that is because search is one of the only channels which allows you to get into inside the minds of the consumer, right? When somebody enters a search term and they're actually searching for, private boat charter Cayman Islands, right? Uh, they have a very specific mentality, right? There's something called a search
Hmm.
intent. Like they have an intent to accomplish something, and they're trying to reach a certain result. And so PPC is one of the most effective ways in order for you to be able to crank that up quickly, and it's relatively minimal as far as in terms of time investment. Right? I think if I had to go and do like a YouTube video for a awareness stage, a consideration stage, and a decision stage, that's quite a bit of time. It's quite a bit of resources involved in actually
Hmm.
building all of that, right? But if I want to set up a PPC ad and I wanted to essentially target anyone who's searching for Cayman Islands, it takes you know half a day, if that, in a couple hours to like set up a campaign like that. So PPC is definitely very powerful in that sense. Yeah.
It is, yeah. You can collect short-term results and short-term insights very quickly, right?
Yeah. 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 All right. Thank you for that.
No worries. So we looked at inbound, right? We looked at the customer's journey, and as Vitaly said, we recognize that there are different search intents in different levels, right? Now we need to know how to make keywords. How do we? Why are keywords so important, right? And trust me when I say that they are. If you don't do a good work with keywords, there's not gonna be high chances that you're gonna be successful with your campaigns. I know that's harsh to hear, but it's the truth. I'll show you why through some examples here. First of all, here we have adjusted some slides in which we're just showing you some parameters that you can use while you're making your keyword research. What these parameters mean is that there's different ways that Google can match your keyword with the ad that you want to trigger. For example, if you're doing an exact match, you're telling them that if you're looking for the keyword Cayman Island private charters, you don't want pricing on that. You don't want any kind of best, top guides, tips. You want exactly that if someone searches exactly for those keywords, you want to show your ad. Now, I know this might sound like, why would I do that, right? Because if someone searches for private charter pricing, I might as well show my click. Why not show my ad, right? It's just a word away from what I'm doing. But the fact is that, of course, we're probably gonna have those two variations as exact match too. But the cost of the click is going to be cheaper if you are very, very assertive with what you want. If you are able to tell Google exactly what you want, you will have a cheaper click. It's very risky to work with broad matches depending on which kind of level you're focusing, right? If you're going for a top funnel, you definitely don't want to go for private charters, right? Because if I put in private charters for this customer of mine in Cayman, first of all, where are you? So you might get a private charter for pretty much any charter anywhere in the world. I'm not talking about Cayman, right? I'm not talking about not even an activity that they have in Cayman. So using a broad match there means that searches for whatever, like Brazil or Rio de Janeiro charters is also going to pop. Private charters is also going to pop up there. Of course, we do some extra segmentation to make sure that doesn't happen, but broad is risky, okay? Use it for things that, for example, you are willing to invest a little bit, maybe that 10, 20% of your investment to test out a new audience. Like, if you really want to risk it, you can go and do something like best activities in Tenerife, right? And you take a broad match for that. I would not recommend you to make a headline on your ad saying, check out the best things to do in Tenerife. I would definitely recommend that you are very clear with your offering. This is a website where you're going to do this, but that doesn't mean that you cannot target that certain kind of query. You probably just don't want to answer it in the same level, right? You want to trigger an ad for a relevant keyword for you maybe on the top or middle funnel, but you don't want really to just try to sell that keyword, because otherwise you're not going to have success.
Yeah, and to kind of touch on this a little bit more as well, is that early on when you're first starting, it's better to be more specific and then go more broad as you expand and start seeing some results, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
broad match, Google's algorithm will do a lot of work and try to guess or predict what the user is trying to find. And of course, Google's incentive is to get you to pay for as many clicks as possible, right? So when you do broad match, and if you do like just Cayman Islands, for instance, or you do like your destination, or even like Cayman Island tours, it will start to show your ad for people searching for things that are outside the bounds of what you are actually trying to accomplish. So it's better to start more specific, and I'll show you how to do this. And I think even Pablo's going to show you how to do this and actually use things like broad match modifiers, phrase matches, to be more specific with the search terms that your ad is showing for.
Yep. I think a very good example that ties back into the how to target a specific keyword can also be found here in this sheet. So basically, what we're looking at here is, I know it's quirky, but it works when you try to visualize it. We have something called it's not really keyword density, but it's kind of the how broad it is. You can see that if you think of this image here, the head terms, they're always going to be very popular ones. They're going to have a lot of queries, and what I mean by that is a lot of searches, which we're going to show you how to identify for a keyword in a bit. But the more that a keyword is dense, is packed up with different variations, with the broad match really is able to find huge variations like pizza. Right, pizza, you can find pizza recipe, pizza delivery, best pizza in town, and pizza near me. There's just millions of things that you could actually be wanting to do with that. Buying it, cooking it, knowing more about it, knowing the story of it. That's a head term. That's something that for sure is going to have a lot of search because it's going to be present in several queries around the world. Uh, but from a potential for your business, if you're a pizzeria in this case, not a lot, right? Different from targeting a keyword like pizza delivery. Right. Using this down to earth with our example here with Crazy Crab, a head term could be, island hopping activities close to the USA. It's going to be a lot. And there's a lot of countries around there where you can do that, but it's not really guaranteed that even if someone, oh, here's an option, clicks, it says, oh, this is the Cayman, that's not what I want. You just lost money. So it's very important that you focus your ads in the long tail, which means it's going to be very refined. You're probably going to go more refined than broad at the beginning. Really understanding what is my key keyword. Like I'm walking tours in Spain. Okay, that's good, but I am in, let's say Barcelona. So I should actually do walking tours in Barcelona. That's even closer to me, right? So that's your long tail. That's what you want to do. Your private walking tour, put that in too. You're a private walking tour in Barcelona. Maybe you're, on a budget solution. Why not put that too? So what I'm trying to say is that the more specific you can be with your keywords, at least on the start, like Vitali said, you will be able to get a better sense of what's going to work here and what's not going to work. Which are my offerings that people are really interested in? Which ones should I just try to upsell with other activities? Which are the ones that I can actually have this first contact, charm this first time. When we are working the keywords, there are a couple of metrics that I want to highlight. We will be looking at today at the end of the class how to build a couple of keyword researches. But when you are inside of Google, once your campaigns are launched, and maybe you already have some set up, you will see that in the keywords tab there are some key metrics that I want to discuss quickly. One of the more important ones for me is the CTR. Now, the CTR, it means the click-through rate. Basically, when we're looking down at this graph here, just to explain a little bit about the metrics, we're looking at the keywords, right? We're looking at how it matches. So we were looking for a broad match. So if someone says here transport, guide, pricing, this is a keyword that we want to bet on because we know this is one of our best activities and it is in Grand Cayman. So there is no doubt that this is an important head term for us. It's inside of a campaign. Now the impressions, what does impression mean? Every time that your ad is shown on Google, be it clicked or not, or be it on the first page or on way on the bottom, that counts as an impression. Okay, that counts as someone has seen your ad. Now, if that was a relevant audience, if that was too broad, if there was a TripAdvisor ad right below you and they clicked that instead of yours, that still counts as an impression. Good thing is, unless you do set it up to be like that, which you should absolutely not, you're gonna pay for that click. Yeah. And impressions, usually by default, you're going in and just setting up your campaigns. They're gonna be charged on clicks, which is the metric right here on the side. Meaning that, again, someone saw the TripAdvisor ad or my ad. I'm not paying for that yet. If they click my ad, then I have to pay my CPC, which is my value per click. So AdWords can get very expensive depending where you are, which currency you're working in, how many competitors you have, and how how positioned your competition is already. but I'm sure you will find that there is always a keyword which represents your business directly, even if it's just a long tail from a specific product, a specific experience that makes part of a product. Maybe you're making a walking tour, you're going to go through a specific place which you know is very important, like the Duomo Chapel in Milan or things like that. Um, you will always see that there will be a cheaper keyword for you to work in. Maybe it's not as popular, but I bet you that it is more relevant for the user that you are looking for. Now, just to close up here, the CTR, right? What does that mean? That's basically a division between the rate of clicks that you get for the times that you have been shown on the page. So as you can see, I can give an example here that bioluminescence bay is a very popular attraction in our customer's location. We filter it with Grand Cayman, right? Why? Because we have this campaign specified for the Cayman Islands, not for offshore. We have huge impressions, but as we would expect, as it's a main attraction, lots of competition, right? Now we know, for example, that the on the second keyword, right, the boat trip, that people are more used in the industry, and the competitors are definitely feeling that too, to use the charter term, right? But we said, but hold on, why don't we talk about the keyword boat trip or boat rental or vessel rental, and then we just make a copy which clearly shows that it's not you're just renting a boat and it's yours. We're showing that it's your pace, it's your time, it's your crew, so it is a manned vessel, and then that made a result in which you can see that, or we did have less impressions. For sure, we did have less impressions, but we had very qualified clicks. You see that the quality score of that user was very high, and our conversion rate at the end is also very good. Um, Another aspect here I want to discuss quickly is the quality score. This is a delicate one, okay? And being realistic with you, when you launch your campaigns, probably, I'm not saying it's the case, but probably your quality index will not start off that good. That is something that you have to build over time. There is even some incentives because it is a very important metric, but once you're usually between that average of 6 to 8, you usually stay there with those ads. You don't have to worry too much about losing a place to your competition, for example. What is more important there really is how much you are paying. It is an auction house after all. But the quality score, it does reflect directly on that cost too. You can pay less and you can get more qualified audience. It's an indication between, my ad is about this specific keyword. Here's the copy. Here's the headline of it. It then reads that ad and it goes into the page that you are shooting your user to, right? So when I click, you'd have to tell Google, where should I send this user? Where's the link? You send them to a page. That page is also going to be read by Google, both organically and for paid. But specifically, if you are sending it on a PPC ad, it will read it because it has to calculate the quality score of that page. Now, you're using the keyword bioluminescence. Is that on the page anywhere? If it's not, Google says, there's something wrong. Why is this huge page not talking about the keyword that you are betting on, right? So that decreases your quality index. Just try to make sure that your website represents the search intent that your user has, and you will be walking towards a good quality index already.
A quick question to everybody. How are we doing? How are you guys doing on time? We have 5 minutes technically left in the 1 hour segment, but we're about to go into some of the actual work that needs to get done here, and I'm just doing a quick time check.
Mhm.
Pablo, go keep going, and then and we'll see how the comments come in.
All right. So I'm gonna be name dropping some tools here that you can use, some paid, some free, but I want to be focusing on one specifically, which I'm gonna use for the homework, and I recommend you do too. Um, the first one is free. It's the Google Keyword Planner, right? So here, this is a native tool from Google. When you start making your campaigns for the first time, it will bring those metrics. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we don't use it too much. We use some alternatives here that we actually pay on the side. But for your first campaign, and definitely very, very valuable for research, to get insights and to try to build new campaign sets, it's still a very relevant tool. Um, you probably understand that as it comes from Google, there's probably going to be some limitations, right? As Vitaly said, it's a biased tool, right? They want you to use Google AdWords or Google Ads, sorry. but it's still a very relevant tool. At least for, I guess it's a good tool to familiarize yourself in a native ambient, on how these researches work. So go in, have a look, create your account on Google, go into the keyword planner, play around a little bit so you can kind of understand what is a keyword, what is a bad keyword. There's also Ubersuggest, which does have a paid and a free version. We sometimes use the free one for very specific cases. When we like a new niche, for example, on an industry we don't have any data on, we might use this just to get the variations and some suggestions on what we could use. Now, CMrush is great. Okay, like right off the bat, it's an excellent tool. But I'm gonna give you a warning too with that. If you are not looking at really, doubling up on your SEO and your PPC, making a lot of research. I'm not talking just keywords here. I'm talking auction websites to see how they are. I'm talking working with link profiling, which is off-page or link building, SEO. Understanding the traffic assumptions from other players. This is a heavy load tool. Okay, this is the full solution for, or at least a very good solution for search marketing, meaning SEO and PPC. But if you have the capacity for that, if you have someone in your team who want very much benefit from that, still a very good recommendation. But I'm going to be focusing on this one here, which is Keywords Everywhere. This is a personal favorite of mine, and I'm going to be doing a part of the homework just to show you the installation and some of the cool resources that this has to get you started right now with your keyword research. It's an extension for Chrome, so it's very easy to set up as long as you use Chrome, of course. It can import keywords. It can analyze traffic from different websites and import those keywords in, so you can actually sneak peek into your competition to see what they are ranking for without really having to have a huge, massive tool like CMrush. CMrush is going to be expensive. The Keywords Everywhere works on a token basis. So with as much as $10, you can already, $10 this being, you can already buy 100,000 credits, which is more than you need for this initial keyword research. So that's the end of the first class and the theory, right? I'm gonna stop here to ask Vitaly if you got any answers from about the time frame, and also if anyone has any questions. This would be a good time for you guys to send it on the chat so we can answer it.
We are good on time. It looks like we have Simon, Philippa, Alice, Brian, Pavel. Everyone said that they're still good on time. So what I'd like to get into now is you showing us how to actually do the keyword research.
Cool. All right. So this is gonna be a three-stage workshop, right? First one is going to be on keywords, second one is going to be on AdWords and the copy for your ads, and the third one is going to be just looking at how do we continue now. So I have a running campaign, what do I look at, what's my next step. But this first one here, I can assume it's going to be the one that needs more effort at the beginning, because it's really gonna kick off the rest of the work that we're going to do. It's like starting an essay, right? It's always hard to start. Once you do, it just flows. So the first thing that you're guys gonna do is download the file that Vitaly is gonna be shooting over to you guys with the emails. Now in here, we have a couple of examples from keywords that we have used ourselves. I'm gonna just quickly make a copy and incentivate you guys to do the same when you get yours. And I'm gonna be showing you guys how Keywords Everywhere works. So Keywords Everywhere, the first thing you're gonna have to go do is go into their website and get an API key. You're gonna have to pay a little bit for that, but trust me, I think the last time I paid for this was last year, and I'm working with this every day, so it should be more than enough for you guys. You get the API key, install it for Chrome or Firefox. Just nice, forgot about that. And once you go into your setup here and you got your API key, you're gonna get a key on your email, right? That email, you just have to put the key here, and you're pretty much good to go. That's the basic setup that you need to do, okay? Now I'm gonna show you what this tool does. Let's get our copy. I'm just gonna quickly delete this. And let's say that I'm just gonna work with the broad just to make it an ease of this first research before I choose the ones that I really want to bid exact. But let's say that we are a company in Portugal. We're walking tours in Lisbon. Okay. So my campaign, I'm just gonna call it Lisbon walking tours. My ad group, this one's gonna be about, gonna be trying to get keywords on my walking tours, right? So I'm just gonna put walking tours. I'm gonna start making my research. So what can I do? Basic that you can do is you go into so where is it now? Import keywords, and in here I can just type several keywords that I think are relevant for me. Now, I'm not going to spend my day doing that, of course, but I'm just going to start with a couple just to see like where am I shooting at and what's the right direction to kind of start digging. So I'm going to put in the classic one for my business, walking tour, listen. And then let's do this walking tour as well, just to see how if there's enough search for it, if maybe sightseeing is better. I'm gonna put Portugal walking tours. Let's start with those. It's correcting it for some reason for me, but anyways. Get the metrics. Here we go. Walking tours, as we saw. Head term. Why? It doesn't say where. It doesn't say about what. Is it a food walking tour? Is it a sightseeing tour? Is it a cultural one? I don't know. But as you can see, a lot of search, right? But is this relevant for you? Well, maybe if
Guys,
someone is in Portugal, yes.
and guys, a quick note on this as well is that you see how it says global search volume, right? So that is around the world how much those keywords are being searched, right? So Pablo,
Exactly.
will you cover essentially if we're essentially targeting, like for instance, I have customers coming from the UK mostly,
Hmm.
right? Or local customers in Spain who are domestic, right? Um, th- is there a way in Keywords Everywhere to specify where those searches are coming from and how I should be doing that keyword research?
In keyword everywhere, no. Here we really do the filtering for the location by using the keyword itself, right? Lisbon, Portugal, and so on. There
Yep.
are other tools that we use where we can do that, of course. Like for example, SEMrush, because it can simulate different search robots, right? So different crawlers which are going to go and make that research for us from different servers around the world. So you can actually be located in America or we can be located in Germany and make a research there. You are right that that does help a lot when it comes to make local ads, right? For example, walking tour, right? As we saw, too broad, right?
Right.
Globally, it's looked a lot. However, I can bid on this keyword as long as I'm crystal clear that I just want to show it to someone that's in Portugal or at least in Lisbon, for example, right? Then
Exactly.
walking tour becomes a relevant keyword. Like this, it does not, right?
Exactly. Okay. I wanted everyone to understand that, right? So if you're bidding on a term like walking tour or like boat charter, right? You don't want to show just your ad for someone who searches just for boat charter that's not even considering your destination. But if they are already in destination, then that's something that is very feasible. You could totally advertise, right, or show your ad to people searching for a term that is that broad because you know that they're already located where you are, right?
Exactly, exactly. Um, I want to show a couple of different hacks, right? Because when we go into this, finding our keywords that we just found here and getting these main metrics, right, that we needed, the CPC, the competition, and the search volume, of course, super important. Um, you don't have to, that's not the only way to build it. Now, of course, I incentivate you to just, sit down, get a sheet of paper and a pen, write down all of the keywords that you can think of for your business, really anything. Is there an attraction that you go through? Write it down. Is there a museum that you might sell tickets to? Write it down. Just try everything you can. The more the merrier at this point, because the filtering, as you can see, my business would maybe say, oh, that's my main keyword. Maybe it's even the name of my business, right? Walking tours in Lisbon, but there's no search. So what do? You find variables. right? So just write them down. The more you have, the better, because trust me, you will discard some of them. That's for sure. That's given. But there are some other cool things that this tool can do. For example, I'm gonna now look for, let's say, just walking tours in Lisbon. So the extension from Keywords Everywhere has a couple of very cool extensions that it brings into Google itself, which is a good place for you to do research too. It's going to give you the main metrics, the same ones that we've seen before, right? Let me just change this for Portugal just for ease of use because it actually has volume. There we go. Okay. So here I'm seeing the metrics that I need to put into that sheet, right? I'm seeing that I have 320 monthly searches worldwide. I'm seeing that averagely Google is going to charge me $1.46 for this click. And the competition, this is in percentage, 12% of competition. So it's actually a very good keyword. Now, if anyone can take a guess here on why this is so high on volume and so low on cost, I would just say that it's because it's a head term. It's very broad. Portugal is not a small country. You might be in different locations. You might have different intentions. So for someone like TripAdvisor, sure, they might advertise on this, right? By the way, let me just stop my ad blocker here. Otherwise, we're going to be missing a lot of information. The ad that someone creates for this, they really need to understand that a big chunk of that investment is probably not going to sell, right? But as it is such a low cost for someone that like TripAdvisor, Viator, you will always see that these kind of terms, depending on the destination, of course, will be bet on, and it's probably not going to be a very fair competition to you. So what else does this tool do? You see, this is some rich information that Google just brings from this location. But down here, you'll always see two excellent views, which really help me when I'm doing my research, which is the related keywords, so meaning keywords that are, would pop up here on the related searches from Google, and it gets you the best ones, right? So Portugal Walks, that's probably a company, but let's write it down too. That's a good ad. Walking holidays in Portugal, sure, I like that too. Walking hike, let's get that too. Self-guided walking tour. Let's say I don't have a self-guided walking tour. It's probably not the best for me. Does not mean I could, maybe put $5 into this keyword just to see if my ad, which says it's not a walking as self-guided walking tour, has some success. But you are putting your finger in a business that's not yours, so it's risky. Let's also get reviews, and then on the bottom here, I'm going to be finding what people are also searching for. Now, this does not come from the Google search recommendation. This comes from Keywords Everywhere robot, which is crawling, trying to simulate what Google does. And that's what really all of those other keyword research tools are trying to do. And they're trying to simulate what Google does. So tours Lisbon. I'm a walking tour, right, in Lisbon. So it's not exactly my keyword, but it is relevant for me. I'm going to pick that one too. Let's do hiking on the coast. Let's say I'm at Algarve on the bottom. I want to offer that. Best walks in Portugal. Let's get the Algarve walking tours. And Portugal, here we go. Walking holidays, Algarve, Portugal. Cool. So that's what you have to do, right? You start picking your favorite keywords, and all of them, they're going to be starting to populate here in this tab, My Keywords. Once we click that, you'll see that the keywords that we just picked are here. Now from here, to bring this view into my homework, it's super simple. Okay, you can copy it directly and just put it in here. Just have to organize it right, and you have the data. Or you can also export it as an Excel if you would rather work it on your computer offline. You can work as a CSV if you're used to this kind of format, or you can also print it if you're old school and you really want to, tag around your information like that. But basically, this is the first assignment, okay? I will be there in Vitali too to help you guys to, once you have this keyword research, to define which are the better keywords, should I segment them? Which should go to my Algarve campaign and which should go to my Lisbon campaign, right? Which should go to my Portugal campaign. So different levels, different businesses, there's going to be lots of peculiarities, okay? And I understand that. We're going to be here for you and to discuss that. But this is the overall process that I would urge you guys to do. There's one more thing that I want to show, which I love about this tool. So I'm looking for, let's do Algarve because I saw that had more search. Okay, so let's say this is a competitor of mine, right? So let's see at the first results. We have Max Adventure, self-guided tours. Okay, let's have a look at what he's doing. Very important as well, of course, don't ignore your competitors, right? Go into their website, look what they are ranking for. Now, if I run my tool in this page, right, I can click on Analyze my page. It seems this website, oh no, it does. Here we go. So what he's doing is keywords everywhere. He's going into the code of the website and is really checking what is highlighted for Google. This H2 and high and T's that you see here on the left, that's all codes for web designing, which is basically where you are also taking the time to tell Google, this is the main keyword that I have, this is the main keyword for this page, this is the second most important one, and so on. We're going to discuss that a little bit too. But this is more for SEO really, okay? So don't worry too much about it in advertising. But when we're looking here, you will see that some of those words that don't make sense, of course, right? Because it's really just getting the copy, the text that it's able to read and breaking it into research. But it can give you a lot of insights, right? So walking holidays, we know there's a little bit of density on this website. It's probably ranking well for it. You also have the search here, which is the main metric that we're looking at this stage. I can give another example. If we run the get keywords for this page, and this is really the it's one of the best resources that this can do, because it shows you which are terms that this website is ranking for right now. You see, which has good positions. So if you open up a competitor of yours, you will see this kind of insight. I'm gonna give you an example here of something that we have been done. Crystal Charters is actually the company of the son of the owner of Crazy Crab, but we're gonna be benchmarking him there just as an example, because I kind of expect which kind of keywords we're gonna be seeing, the same ones we work. But if I open up keywords everywhere here and I get analyzed for my page, here we go. So you see, immediately I start seeing. So the estimated traffic, don't take it with a grain of salt, okay? Because this is really simulation from the crawler. Usually this is not right, at least in our experience, because we know for a fact that this is the main keyword for the Cayman Islands. So it definitely does generate more than 5 traffics, that's 5 users a month. You see, there is the volume that I want to know, right? Super important keyword. You can tell this right away, right? That these are the keywords that I should be putting into my keyword research, because they are representing exactly what I'm doing. My location, boat charter, good search volume, golden. That's exactly what I need to bet on. I'm sure you guys can do exactly the same. You can quote me on this, but you can have a look as well on TripAdvisor and Viator. Sometimes it's nice to go into the category page that they have for your segment, for your niche, and run the same analysis. Sometimes it doesn't work because they do have security measures for that. They're trying to block robots, which is what we're doing here. We're using a robot to go and read the content for us and bring information. But if they don't, then you are always able to see that TripAdvisor knows what they're doing, right? They know how to pick their locations and see where there's potential, and that's part of the work that they're probably doing. They're researching which has the most interest, what are people searching for, and they optimizing those pages. Many times, also making ads on against your brand, sometimes selling your service, but with a commission, right? So be extra careful with that, okay? You don't want to be betting somewhere that TripAdvisor is as well. You're going to be losing. There's a chance you might lose 2 times, once for the click and then the second time for the commission that TripAdvisor gets. So extra careful there. I think that should be the initial points that I would like to pass when it comes to the keyword research, okay? Use Google, just go in here in Google and go crazy with this extension. You know, try super long tails. You might be surprised. Sometimes we identify that with 5 words, so you know, a query with 5 words combining ends up giving you like 20%, 20 searches. You know, it gives you a 20, and that might not seem like a lot compared to the 340 from private charters, but that's exactly what you're selling. You know, and if there is search, that's showing that someone is doing that. And the last thing I want to highlight as well is that when it comes to the volume, sometimes you're going to get around 0, right? You're going to get just your keyword has 0 searches, but you're going to look at that and go, but hold on, that's the keyword that's generating most traffic from me organically. How can it be 0? Because it probably isn't. As I said, all of those tools, they're trying to simulate Google. The best way for you to know if a keyword that says it's 0, but it is still relevant for you, the best way to identify that, search it. Go in and search it. You know, like for example, we saw before that, what was it, walking tours in Portugal, was it? That didn't have search, or no? Which was the keyword we just did?
Was it Algarve? Was it the one?
Maybe Algarve walking tours. I think Lisbon. That's what it was. Now you see, like we've seen before, it has 0, right? So maybe if I pick this up right after the bat, I would have said, bad keyword. But don't do that. When in doubt, because let's say I am this walking tour in Lisbon, probably that's why. Then I do have good results. You see, there is a company right here selling me. This is probably because I'm in Brazil. Okay, that's what's getting the .pr. But you can see I am finding ads, so it's people paying for this. And Google is saying, the keywords everywhere is telling me that it's actually 0, right? That no one has paying anything for that, but that's not true. Otherwise, there wouldn't be ads for that. You see, otherwise there wouldn't be related keywords for that keyword because it is an important keyword. Same as identifying that from my search there, walking tours Lisbon, and the related tours that I'm getting. You see the different companies, Discover Walks Lisbon, Sandemans, which is someone we work to as well. Um, that shows that this keyword is relevant. Maybe it is not relevant enough for keywords everywhere to track it worldwide to see how everyone is behaving with it, but it's definitely a relevant keyword for you because it's your business. You have competition, and there are great results out there for companies that are doing there, from huge companies like the Sandemans Group, TripAdvisor. So you can be absolutely sure if TripAdvisor is making ads on it. If you have companies making ads on it, they are selling. Or they're doing a very, very, very bad job, right? But I would say that's probably not the case.
Pablo,
Um,
will keywords everywhere show up for different languages? Like if you actually type in something, for instance, in Portuguese or in Spanish or Italian, will it give you results for that as well?
I believe so, yes. Let me have a look. Yes, it does. And it works on all languages, really.
Awesome.
Because it doesn't really track like you asked before, right? I'm saying I want the US tracker. I think you can segment it in a couple ones here, maybe. Yeah, here, right here, you see? So there are a couple of options, but not as many as some other tools offer, right? But you can really say, where is your IP? And you say, I'm right here, right? I'm right around the square where my business is. Um, but still, you have a couple of options, but it does work multi-language.
Jason is asking, is it recommended to use competitors' product names and brand names as keywords to bid on?
On your research, yes, do it on your research because you're gonna have a lot of insights, right? You're gonna maybe see that a specific product that you're doing is actually not good in that way, but maybe you identify that. Like I'm gonna give you a real example, okay? There was this guy. He was in Spain in I forget the name, but it was a customer a couple of years back. He was prospecting with us, and we just made a small project for him in which made a couple hours of research. Basically, we identified that there was this competitor. He had a super, fancy name, a name that sounded good, but it didn't really represent anything. And he was getting a lot of traffic for a Game of Thrones location from the series from the
Uh-huh.
set. And we identified that that user, when we made the research for that company, he was ranking for that. So we said, hey, you know that tour that you have? It was exactly the same tour going over the same places. Change its name, put Game of Thrones scenery. Change that, boom, huge success. So don't ignore it. That's the best thing I can do is don't ignore it. Look at it, research it, benchmark it. Now, should you bet on your competitor's name? Maybe. It depends on who your competitor is. It depends on how strong his presence is. We had other players betting on our customers, right? So you look for the brand name of our customer, which is it tends to be the strongest player in his venue. They start bidding on us, right? So, for example, I was working with Sandeman some years back, and they were also being targeted by other competitors which offered free walking tours like they do. Their business is basically free offering and then upselling. Um, we noticed that they were betting on us. When someone was looking for Sandeman's tours, they were showing up. But of course, their relevance for those terms was way lower than ours because we had a huge website which says Sandeman's New York to a New Europe tour absolutely everywhere, on the URL, on the products, on the team page, everywhere.
Yeah, this is
So his competition with us, it doesn't have a chance.
but this is just a very common it's actually a very common strategy, by the way, Simon.
Mm,
I shouldn't say strategy, it's a tactic. And I have seen it done successfully when you can do like a comparison page, right? So like if you bid on a competitor, what you could do is you can have a page on your site that says like you bid on it, you have your own ad, and then you can actually do like an ad that says you know Sandeman versus XYZ Acme Co or whatever it is, and then they land on a page and you can actually have a comparison. You're like, oh, by the way, like you're looking for that, we offer this, but then you position yourself in a way that makes you look better than them, right? So it's a very common strategy in tech space. You can even do like alternatives, Sandeman alternatives, right? And
mhm.
so there's ways to do that. We're not going to get too heavily on that. That requires a strategy in and of itself. But just know that yes, you can bid on your competitors' brand names.
Yep. Um, I think that's what I have. There's one more trick I want to show you guys, which can really help with the kickoff of this research. Okay, so there's this very cool website I like to use. It's going to be linked on the presentation. It's called Answer the Public. Now, be warned, the free version, which I'm just using the free version, I always used it. You get 2 searches per day. Okay. So I'm gonna go in here, and what this normally does is that it gets the keyword that I type in, and it starts looking for variables, right? So he starts understanding the what, the if, the where, the which questions, and combining them with your keyword and giving you a huge matrix of all the combinations that it can think of. Now, that by itself is pretty cool, but it's not as useful, right? But when you're using keywords everywhere, you're actually able to bring in that information into this website. If you go into any kind of keyword tool with keywords everywhere activated, it will identify that it is tracking keywords and it will bring the search volume to it. So I'm going to give you an example here. Let's do the Algarve walking tours, okay? Let's just do Algarve tours. Algarve tours. Let's search from. I'm not sure if we have a worldwide here. Let's do the United Kingdom.
This is a very cool tool.
It is.
It's probably one of the more visual tools that I've seen that make things kind of look kind of cool. It's great. It's a really a great website.
Like it gets a NES, right, which is a big list of
Yeah,
keywords, and then it organizes neatly.
yeah.
So it seems that this keyword didn't have too much search when it comes to these main variables, which is going to be the related keywords. But don't fret, because we have here some here on the prepositions. So you can see the combinations here, right? And now, let me give you a heads up. Depending on where you are and what you do, like if you do tours in Rome, be ready. It's going to be a lot, okay? But basically, here we're going to start getting some insights. Like, for example, remember that I saw we displayed that I'm a walking tour in Lisbon, right? Now I identified that there is a query for someone that is in Lisbon and wants to go to the Algarve, which is the southern coast. So I could very well use that as an excellent keyword for me. Maybe I didn't even think of it, you see? Maybe I didn't even think that someone is in Lisbon and wants to go to the Algarve, and now I have maybe even a multi-day opportunity to have a product. But this information is cool on itself as it is, okay? Because it gives you this variations, gives you ideas. It freshens you up when you're having that block that you're just writing keywords constantly. But also when you go all the way down on this, let me just see if I can get this out of the way. You see this gray information here. This is being imported from Keywords Everywhere. So now you actually have two super good tools working together. And let's say Algarve cave tours, 210. Maybe I have a walking tour which goes through a cave. Boom. Now I just got to go into my title page, change that for SEO, create a new ad, launch it with this keyword. I'm covering it in a different way that I wasn't before. So lots of insights from here, guys. Like if you ask me for one tip to write my keyword research, this is it. Going to answer the public, run your keywords everywhere extension, and just copy all of this into your, add them to your favorite, the ones that you think are relevant, and you're gonna have them all in one place. Get that, export it, put it into the homework, and then you get ready for the next class, which is gonna be, now you have your keywords, how are we gonna write this? And that's gonna be the subject for the second class. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Pablo. That was awesome. That was awesome. I'm going to be doing the homework immediately after this call. So if anyone wants to stick around, you can do it with me. And tomorrow, same time, we're tuning in. We're going to be going over what's on tomorrow's agenda.
Tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to copy, so how to produce the copy for your ads now that we have the keywords, knowing that there's some specifics that we need to follow, and how to set up your first campaign, so how to open up AdWords and really set it up for the first time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Pablo. Thank you everyone on the call for your time as well. I think that was an awesome first session. Great comments, great questions from everybody. We will see you tomorrow for class number 2.
Perfect. All right. I also take the time to appreciate everyone's time to be here. I'm really glad to be able to share this knowledge to, well, you guys, exactly the guys that I work with, right? So I hope this is useful for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Pablo.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.